Hold your hand up. Look at it. Really look at it. See the lines on your palm, the tiny hairs on your knuckles, the way the light catches your skin. That hand, the one you're looking at right now, is not what you think it is. It's not young. It's not new. It's not even really yours in the way you imagine. That hand is ancient, incomprehensibly ancient. The atoms that make up your flesh, your bones, your blood, every single one of them are approximately 13.8 billion years old. They existed before the Earth, before the sun, before there were galaxies to hold stars or planets to orbit them. And nobody tells you this. Nobody sits you down and explains that you are not a thing that began at birth. You are a temporary arrangement of matter that has always existed, reassembled into the shape of a person, given a name and told to go to school. Let me show you what you actually are. Layer 1, the age of everything. Let's start with a number, 13.8 billion years. That's the age of the universe, give or take a few hundred million. We know this from multiple independent measurements. The cosmic microwave background radiation, mapped by the Planck satellite in 2013, the expansion rate of galaxies, the ages of the oldest stars. The number converges. 13.8 billion years ago, there was no matter. Not anywhere. No atoms, no particles, nothing you would recognize as stuff. There was only energy, compressed into a point of infinite density that physicists call a singularity. Then something happened. We call it the Big Bang, though it wasn't really an explosion in the way you imagine. It was an expansion. Space itself stretched, and as it stretched, it cooled. And as it cooled, energy began to condense into matter. This is where your atoms were born. In the first 3 minutes, yes, 3 minutes, the universe forged the lightest elements. Hydrogen, helium, trace amounts of lithium, that's it. That's all the Big Bang could make. The universe was cooling too fast for anything heavier. Here's what I need you to understand. The hydrogen atoms in your body right now, the ones in every water molecule in your blood, in your tears, in the coffee you drank this morning, those hydrogen atoms were created 13.8 billion years ago in the first 180 seconds of existence. They have never been destroyed. They have never been created again. They have simply moved from place to place, from form to form, across the entire history of the cosmos. And now temporarily, they are you. Sit with that for a moment. Layer 2. You were forged in a dying star, but hydrogen and helium aren't enough to make a person. You need carbon for your DNA, oxygen to breathe, calcium for your bones, iron for your blood. Where did those come from? This is where the story gets beautiful. After the Big Bang, the universe was dark. No stars, no light, just clouds of hydrogen and helium drifting through expanding space. But gravity is patient. Over hundreds of millions of years, those clouds began to collapse. They compressed, they heated, and eventually they ignited. The first stars were born, and stars, it turns out, are factories. Nuclear fusion reactors the size of solar systems, smashing hydrogen atoms together to make helium, then smashing helium to make carbon, then carbon to make oxygen, then oxygen to make neon, magnesium, silicon, all the way up the periodic table. A physicist named Fred Hoyle worked this out in 1954. He predicted that carbon could only form inside stars through a specific nuclear resonance, a precise energy level that allows 3 helium nuclei to fuse. If that resonance didn't exist, carbon wouldn't exist. Life wouldn't exist. You wouldn't exist. When physicists tested his prediction, they found he was exactly right. The resonance was there at precisely the energy level Hoyle calculated. The universe, it seems, is calibrated for carbon. But here's the problem. Stars are greedy. They make these heavy elements deep in their cores, but they don't share. The carbon sits there, the oxygen sits there, trapped inside a ball of plasma millions of miles across. How does it get out? How does it become part of you? It gets out when the star dies. Layer 3. The supernova that made your bones massive stars, the ones 8 times larger than our sun or more, don't fade quietly. When they exhaust their fuel, the core collapses in a fraction of a second. The outer layers rebound off the collapsing core and explode outward at 10,000 kilometers per second. This is a supernova, and it is one of the most violent events in the known universe. In that explosion, 2 things happen. First, All the elements the star spent millions of years forging, carbon, oxygen, silicon, iron, are scattered across space, seeded into the void like pollen on the wind. Second, and this is remarkable, the explosion itself creates new elements. The conditions are so extreme, temperatures of billions of degrees, pressures beyond imagination, that atoms are smashed together to form elements heavier than iron. Gold, silver, platinum, uranium. The gold in your wedding ring, if you have one, was created in the final seconds of a collapsing star. The calcium in your bones was fused in a stellar core over millions of years, and then scattered by an explosion that outshone an entire galaxy. In 2017, astronomers detected gravitational waves from two neutron stars colliding. In the debris, they found spectroscopic signatures of heavy elements being formed in real time. We watched gold being made. The astronomer Carl Sagan said it simply, "We are made of star stuff." But I think that undersells it. You are not merely made of star stuff. You are the continuation of a stellar process. The supernova didn't end when the explosion faded. It continued through chemistry, through biology, through you, the iron in your blood, the same iron that colors it red, that carries oxygen to your brain, that keeps you conscious enough to hear these words. That iron was forged in the core of a star that died before our sun was born. You are not observing the universe. You are the universe observing itself. Layer 4. Nothing is ever created or destroyed. Now let me give you a principle that changed how I see everything. In 1789, a French chemist named Antoine Lavoisier published a treatise containing a law that would become foundational to all of chemistry and physics, the conservation of mass. Matter cannot be created or destroyed. It can only change form. The atoms in your body right now are the same atoms that have always existed, not similar atoms, not equivalent atoms, the same atoms. The specific carbon atom in the third position of the adenine base in a strand of your DNA may have spent 1 billion years in a rock on a planet that was swallowed by its dying sun. It may have drifted through interstellar space for another 1 billion years. It may have been part of a dinosaur, a fern, a bacterium, a raindrop, a breath exhaled by Julius Caesar. And now it's in your DNA, helping to encode the proteins that make you you. When you die, that carbon won't be destroyed. It will simply move again, into the soil, into a plant, into the atmosphere, into another body. The cycle doesn't end. It has never ended. It began 13.8 billion years ago, and it continues through you right now. You are not a permanent structure. You are a pattern, a temporary eddy in the flow of matter through time. The atoms pass through you like water through a river. The river has a shape, an identity, a name, but the water is always changing. Layer 5. You have always existed. Here's the part that most people don't think about carefully enough. If your atoms are 13.8 billion years old, and those atoms have merely been rearranged into the shape of you, then in what sense did you begin at birth? You didn't come into the universe. You came out of it. The way a wave comes out of the ocean. The wave has a shape, a beginning and an end in time. But the water was always there. The wave is something the ocean does. You are something the universe does. You are the universe waving, temporarily, in a specific pattern, with a name and a social security number and a preference for coffee over tea. But the matter that makes you was here before the earth formed. It will be here after the sun dies. It will still exist when the last star burns out and the universe fades to cold darkness trillions of years from now. In the most literal, physical, scientifically defensible sense, you have always existed. Not as you, not as this pattern, but as the matter from which you are made. You were present at the Big Bang. You were present inside a star. You were present in the supernova that scattered your iron across space. The atoms remember none of it, but they were there, and they are here now, reading these words, thinking these thoughts, wondering what they are. I keep a photograph on my desk of the Hubble Deep Field. It's a tiny patch of sky about the size of a grain of sand held at arm's length, and in that tiny patch there are over 10,000 galaxies. Each galaxy contains hundreds of billions of stars. Many of those stars have planets. And all of it, every galaxy, every star, every atom, and every planet came from the same primordial fire that made you. You are not separate from the universe. You never were. The feeling of separateness, the sense that you are a small thing looking out at a vast cosmos, that feeling is an illusion created by the very consciousness that makes you remarkable. You are the cosmos, arranged temporarily into a form that can wonder at itself. So here's what I want you to do. Tonight, go outside, look up at the stars, and remember that the light hitting your eyes traveled for years, decades, centuries to reach you. And the atoms in your eyes, the ones detecting that light, were forged in stars just like the ones you're seeing. You are not looking at the universe. You are the universe looking at itself, and you always have been.